as we discuss about personal branding. It's my joy, it's my prayer, and also my pleasure to always welcome you to this show as we discuss nugget wisdom, um, things that can be able to build us, can make us better. So we want to welcome you, feel at home. This is the Well Show, and we are grateful. Let us know where you're watching us from. Let's know how the video is. Let us know how the sound is. Kindly let us know if there is any adjustment we can do or any thing that we need to change, and we'll appreciate. Kindly also make sure that you share these live broadcasts on your pages. Make it as share as much as you can, and we'll be able to appreciate. I want to welcome Shaluta for coming in. Sarah YSMS, thank you so much for coming in. I'm looking forward for you guys to share. Let's share. Let's tag people. Let's share this wisdom together. Let's grow together. That's our desire. So those that can be able to repost these on their wall, kindly do. Those who can be able to tag others, kindly do, and we'll appreciate as we wait for the rest in a few so that we can be able to start all together. Beatrice, thank you for coming in, and we appreciate. Thank you so much. Let us know how the sound is. Nyokabi, Sarah, tell us how the sound is, how the video is. Sound and the video is okay. We appreciate. Thank you for that feedback, Shaluta. Thank you for always sharing our link. We don't take it for granted. Thank you. Thank you so much. As we continue to share, we'll get into our discussion tonight, and I know it will be powerful. Make sure you have your notebook in place. Make sure you have your pen in place, because you can't miss this wisdom. We must grow holistically. We must be able to develop ourselves in all spheres of our life. So make sure that you are well equipped, you are well built to face this life with energy and with zeal. Great. Thank you. Both video and audio is very clear. I'm watching from Thika. Thank you so much. We appreciate. Sarah, amazing. We are waiting for the rest, and we don't know what is happening. You know, there are people that we know they're supposed to be here, but we know in a while they'll be in. Yes. Thank you so much. Great. Allow me to get into today's discussion, and I want to be as much as composed I can so that I'll be able to be able to work together in this journey about personal branding. This is something that is very close to my heart when I talk about how can you brand yourself. We have talked last week, I remember we were talking about business, and we talked about packaging and branding as one of a very strong tool in growing a business. And today we want to see how can you be able to package yourself, how can you be able to brand yourself so that you can position yourself in this life better, how you can be able to maximize on the opportunity that knock on your door, how you can be able to deal on the areas of your weakness. And that's what we'll be doing tonight, because I know if you be able to brand ourselves well, then we'll be able to know that thing that we carry. And when we talk about a personal brand, in a simple terms, it can be able to define that uniqueness that you carry, that uniqueness that you hold, that wow factor that makes you to stand out among many people. That becomes your brand. That that definition that you put on yourself, that definition that other people can be able to put on yourself, that thing will be able to, if everything was to fall, out, what is that thing will remain? Then that becomes your brand. And that's what we look about when we talk about self-branding and the journey that we want to walk through until we know that we have a brand. But I want to start by saying this, or giving as a disclaimer, that personal branding is not an event, it's a process. You keep growing your brand, you keep bettering yourself, you keep painting, repainting, readjusting your brand, so that at each and every time you're more better, that there, as much as we talk about consistent, but you need to keep building this consistent, against the current or what is trending, so that also you remain relevant. Remember, any brand that does not remain relevant, then it is not impactful, is not influential. Remember, why we talk about a brand is so that you can be able to be influential. You can be able to tap as many, you can be able to tap the resources that you carry to the resources of others. A brand supposed to attract other people, because when we talk about networking as one of the pillar in branding, then that means your brand must be something that people desire. So that's in a nutshell, that's what we talk about personal branding. Now, when we talk about personal branding as a process, not as an event, then we need to understand, where do we start building a personal brand? And also we'll ask ourselves, is a personal brand important? Yes. But where do we start? When you talk about a personal brand, it is start by having a self-identity. When you know who you are, what you stand for, what are your values, that thing that you can give yourself. I remember I was asking this question, what's the difference between self-identity and self-awareness? And I remember we had a conversation about this, about self-awareness and self-identity. When we talk about self-awareness and self-identity, most of the time people have used this interchangeably, but I can put my wisdom to say this, that identity is what people see about you, or what you have been able to position to others, and they can be able to say, this is your identity, this is how they know you. Then when you talk about self-awareness, it is the within. So we can be able to say that the self-awareness is the within you, and the self-identity is the out you. Let me repeat. When we talk about self-awareness, which self-awareness and self-identity, they become they're the first blocks of building a personal brand. That I'm self-aware of myself. I know my strength. I know my weakness. I know what I'm struggling with. I know what is my strength. I know what are my hobbies. I know what are my talent. I know what are my gifting. That you can give yourself a scorecard. This is what I'm doing well in my strength. This is what I'm doing on my weakness. These are my priorities. These are my to-do list. This is where I need to adjust to become a better person. So that becomes the self-aware. You are aware of yourself. And majority of the time when we talk about self-aware, sometimes people may not be aware of what you're going through. That's when we talk about self-awareness. It's the window where that you know much about yourself. You are so much aware with yourself. That's the place of self-awareness. And the self-awareness creates a strong self-identity. Now, I know who I am. This is what they know about me. But self-awareness, people might not know as much that you know. So those two becomes a very good tools of building who you are. I've seen people in corporate, I've seen people in leadership, I've seen people in business. Your brand will always attract people. So when we talk about self-awareness, when we talk about a personal brand, it's a very important tool that any person listening to me who want to make an impact in their life, people want to fulfill their purpose, people in office, people in business, you cannot assume a personal brand and think you're going to make as much as you could, because this is a strength. This becomes your weapon, becomes a defense mechanism for who you are and what people can be able to talk about you. So when I have said, number one, when you talk about the process of personal branding, you need to be aware of yourself. You need to have a strong identity. about yourself. You sit down and do what we call the SWOT analysis, because I've seen majority of people, they never take time about SWOT analysis. If you can sit down and do SWOT analysis about a business, why don't you start with yourself and ask yourself, what are my strengths against my weakness? Are we together? Then ask yourself, these are my strengths, these are my weakness. How do I, bridge the gap? How do I narrow the gap? That we don't have so much of weakness that is outspicious out there, and it hinders you from, exercising your strength. So you're able to do a SWOT analysis, the place of knowing your strength, the place of knowing your weakness, know what you can do with your weakness so that you maximize on it. Then you make sure how you can be able to use your strength to change your weakness, how you can use your strength to cover your weakness, because life will always give you moments of giving up. And most of the time you'll find our weakness become a challenge to achieving what we want to achieve in life. So we must know how to deal with our weakness. For example, probably your biggest weakness is time management. I know when I say this, there are people listening to me and they're like, when we talk about maybe your weakness is time management, you know that you cannot progress when you continue misusing time, when you're not a good time manager. So when you do a SWOT analysis, you face the reality. You know, this is my strength. Probably I'm a very good person in business. Probably I'm a good orator. Probably I'm a good a person in terms of doing business, but my biggest challenge is time management. So you ask yourself, how do I bridge the gap so that at the end of the day I'm capitalizing on my strength? Then when we come down here, you'll always get opportunity and threats. There are people who have been hit with a lot of opportunities, but they have missed those opportunities. Why? Because they have never mastered the threat. Because we always say this, strength and weakness, those are internal factors that you carry. Those are the things that are within us. Those are the things we can be able to control. They're the things we can work on them slowly. Then when we talk about opportunity and threat, those are the external factors that affect your growth, your personal development, your personal, a process of growth. Those are the external factors, probably economic factor, probably career factor, probably your environment. Those are the things that are external, which can work for or they can work against your growth. So you also become aware of, these are the threats that I'm facing, these are the opportunities that I have. How can I capitalize on my opportunity so that I can reduce my threat? How can I use my opportunities so that I can be able to make sure that my threats don't become a pitfalls or a stumbling block in my process of growing myself? So when you do a clear SWOT analysis and being honest with yourself, then it gives you the power now to know, this is the kind of a brand that I'm going to build for myself. And I've said a brand, it is that wow factor, that unique factor that makes you to stand among many. That thing that people will always say, this is Sam, this is Henry, this is so and so. They will define you not by name, by that character, and that character becomes your brand. So I've said, number one, in this process of building a personal brand, make sure that you are very aware of yourself. You build a very strong identity. Then you go to the next stage of building doing a very good, what we call the SWOT analysis. Your strength, your opportunity, your strength, your weakness, your opportunity, and your threat. These are very important. They actually show who you are. They can tell us who you are. They can communicate to you who you are, the areas that you're good, the areas that you're not good, the areas that you need to work on, the SWOT analysis. And I will challenge you tonight that you'll be able to sit down, take a pen, and analyze yourself. See where you need to adjust, see where you need to put strength so that you can come better. Before we move on, let me see how we're progressing on. Hey, thank you, Reverend Fred, for coming in. God bless you. I appreciate that. Lucy Chege, thank you. It's good. Share these. I know, Ref, you need to repost these on your wall. I know it will touch a number of people. Same with Lucy, as you sell the insurance, people, they need to know that brand. You're also becoming a brand. Carlo, thank you so much for coming in. Yes, and if someone can see Reverend Jane, Reverend Maureen. Yes, I can see Reverend Jane. Thank you for coming in. Good. So I was talking about pillar number 2 of the process of building a brand, that you need to do a SWOT analysis and be genuine to yourself, be real to yourself, because it will show you where you need to work on. Once you do that, then you go to number 3, or stage number 3 of building a personal brand, and that is developing what we call personal tools. And I'll talk about 3 personal tools. Number 1 is a personal vision, number 2 is a personal mission, and number 3 it's setting goals. Now, any person who is building a brand must first sit down and have a vision. And we are always defining a vision as the mental picture about your future, but you can see it present. When you close your eyes, where can you see yourself 40 years from now, depending at your age? Where can you see yourself maybe 30 years from now? The vision that you can see when you close your eyes, what kind of an image, what kind of a picture can you have that can define you, can define your future, where you come back into your present? So you can never build a brand, and a strong brand and a unique brand, when you don't have a personal vision. If companies can sit down, can employ people, can hire people, can go to consultant firms to go and get people, can develop a unique strategic vision for their company, then I think it's very important for a human being to have a vision. And I believe also, as the Bible says, that where there is no vision, people perish. So we'll be able to say, if you are to gauge people with the same verse in the Bible, in Proverbs, then that means that people are perishing for lack of vision. People, the same Bible says in the book of Habakkuk 2:2, that write your vision in capital letter, for those who are running may run with it. Do you have a vision? Do you have a vision? Because I think where there is vision, then there is provision. The purpose now you have cut clear. This is what I'm working for. This is the mental picture that I want to bring out. And I've always said this, that work is a manifestation of the vision. Let me repeat that. Work is a manifestation of the vision. What hands can do, or what hands do, it shows the kind of image that you have in the mind. There must be a connection of where you go. Small bits should be able to connect to a bigger success. We have always said this, that there is nothing but big success. Big success is a combination of small things done with an excellent attitude. So the moment you have this vision, it helps you to have an excellent attitude. It helps you to have an excellent mindset. It helps you to approach life from an excellent point of view. And you're able to do things with small things with a lot of greatness, a lot of great mind into it. Then it amounts to a great result. So there is no brand when you don't have a personal vision. And I have said that personal vision should be between 15 to 30 years, that mental picture you can see. So once you have a clear vision of who you want to be, a clear vision of where you're going, a clear vision of what you're working towards, then you'll come down and have a mission. And I always say this, mission is the day-to-day activity that we do that connects to a mission. So there must be a place of, this is where I want to go, then I'll come back here and have a mission and be able to say, for me to get there, if, for example, I say, by the time I'm 40, or rather, by the time I'm hitting 60 or maybe 55, I have this kind of a company that I have employed 100 people, or probably I have written about 100 books, or whichever the thing that you want to do, or probably you have, if you're in a business field, you want to have open maybe 5 outlets, and you have employed 100 people. Then once you have that clear vision in your mind, becoming impactful, influential, then you come back and say, what am I going to do today? Because you have said mission is it's a day-to-day activity. What am I going to do this week? What am I going to do next month? Then you can be able to connect the dots. That long journey of fulfilling a vision starts with a single step. Now that single step is a mission. That thing that you wake up in the morning and do. And there must be always have a connection between the mission and the vision. And what connect these two, it's now what we have called as a tool number 3, which are goals. Now, goals, the objective that we set for a given period of time, for you to remain consistent, for you to remain persistent on your mission, that means you don't feel monotonous, you don't feel giving up, then you'll be able to say, for the next 6 months, this is what I will do. Now, that becomes your goal or become your objective. For the next 6 months, then that's what I will do. What happens is when you set short-term goals that are achievable, in other words, what we call the SMART goals, as an individual, you feel motivated to be able to draw another 6-month project or 6-month goal. So these are the, I would call goals or objective as bus stops. When you're riding a journey, when you're driving through a road, you'll always get a bus stop. Probably you need to buy something, or probably you want to check on your tires. So when you're talking about mission day to day, that is driving. But if you are to drive from Nairobi to probably to Nakuru, then you're going to get about 4 or 5 bus stops. What that gives you, it allows you to be able to either give your car or your engine a moment to relax, or probably to cool down, or probably buy something for yourself, or probably refreshen a bit. All that becomes a long journey, but with different goals. In life, the same thing will happen. When I have known my vision, I'll come back and develop a mission. Then I'll come up with my goals that are 6 months. This is what I want to do. When you achieve that, it motivates you. You feel good. When you set small, achievable goals, it allows you to do what you call the maze. You can be able to see, how am I going to implement it? Am I going to monitor myself? How am I going to evaluate yourself? When you take yourself as a whole organization, when you take yourself as a whole, a company, some in a company, then it becomes easier for me to manage another company, because I've been able to exercise the authority of management over myself. Where you find people, they cannot manage business well, when you find people cannot manage institution well, because they have not been able to manage themselves. If each and every one of us who is watching us and listening to us tonight, they will take themselves as company. Like, for example, we have Reverend Fred, and Reverend Fred defined himself like a company, like an organization. If he can be able to articulate that organization called the Fred organization, it becomes very easy, because you only copy paste what you do to this organization to the bigger organization. And if you can manage this organization that has feeling, then it becomes easier for you to manage an organization that doesn't have feeling. But majority of the time, we have never seen ourselves as an organization that require branding. You'll find companies painting so that they can have a good name, they can have a good outlook. They will even buy their staff's uniform, but people will never see themselves as an organization, so that they can do the same on themselves. So I've said, you need to have what we call the personal tools that will help you to build a personal brand. And I'll say, number one, you need to have a vision, the mental picture of where you go. Number two, the mission. Where are you? What are your day-to-day activity that will end you? For example, let me give you an example. Maybe in a long run, you want to say that in the next 30 years, I want to make sure that I'm not renting. I have my own home, probably a 3 or 4 bedroom house. That becomes a vision. Probably based on where you are, it might take you 10 to 15 years or 20 years. Then you'll come back and say, for me to achieve there, every year I'll be able to save 20,000. Then you're going to break the 20,000 probably to a monthly, where you'll be able to say, for me to get the 20,000, I need to save this amount of money, probably 1,800 or 1,900 or 1,700 per month. You see, you're able to break the long term of building to yearly, then from yearly even to month. You can even break it to a day. You'll be able to say, for me to be able to get maybe 2,000 in a month as a saving towards my vision, or to add what I want to achieve by the end, then it means by then I need to break it into a daily, and I'll be able to say, for me to get there, I'll make sure I'm able to save probably this amount of money per day, so that at the end of the day, you can be able to have a cumulative of your activity that will fulfill to a certain objective. Now, we say that getting your own home becomes your vision. Then having goals, you'll be able to say, for the next 2 years, what we call a midterm goal, I need to make sure that I have deposited to the land sellers, or probably real estate companies that are selling product. You can see, you can be able to monitor your steps, but all these steps are going to end up to a bigger thing that you started with a small vision. So that becomes a place of a brand. And even when you go to companies always, probably you're looking for a job, they'll always ask you, can you define us to us who you are? Most of the people, when they have asked that question, or tell us who you are, you have find people mentioning their name. And when you get that question in an interview, my friend, they're not asking you what are your names. Before even you came to that interview, you had written your CV, you had sent your CV. So they had interacted with you on paper. So they know when you are born, they know your academic qualification, or your academic level. They know your name. They know everything probably in terms of what you're. So what they want to hear, it is what is not in the paper. And I have find a lot of people going to an interview and tell, a simple question, tell us who you are. And majority of the people, they go back to whatever you had sent them. They're giving you a platform to tell them what is that unique brand that you're giving us in this organization. That, what is that thing that you have? It is not in the paper because it is so big. It cannot even be, you cannot even fit it in word. You cannot even put it in writing. You can only express it through life, or through that place of giving it life. So I've find people, and majority of young people ask this question in interviews, tell us who you are, and they go back telling us their names. My friend, I want to tell you, anytime you go to an interview and you get a question, please don't repeat your names. Tell us who you are. I'm Samuel Mainagadagu. My friend, those people, they know you. That's why they called you for an interview. They're not looking for your names. They're not looking up to your education level. They have that in paper. Actually, they have even the certificate that you supplied them. What they're looking is, can you tell us that brand you are? That wow factor that you have, that uniqueness that you have, that, it's going to shock, it's going to blow our mind, and we are like, this is the person we are looking for. And the same thing, so I've said, so that I don't lose anyone, that we were talking about stage 3 of building a brand, that you need to have those 3 intact tools. Have a vision, and I want to challenge you tonight. If you don't have a personal vision, kindly write it. It's very important. You just need to have a month or so, meditate upon it, be plain as you can, be in touch with yourself, and see, what is this that I can be able to write about myself. Then have a mission. I find a lot of people, at the beginning of the year, they're going to set very good resolution. Actually, by the way, we can ask ourselves, today, as we look at where we are in the month of July, which is ending, and we ask ourselves, where are we in terms of the resolution that we made at the beginning of the year? You get people, they bought diaries, they wrote those resolutions. And I always tell people, don't write a resolution that you cannot even feel. Actually, one of the things that you need to do, just write, if you can fulfill one resolution in a year, I'm telling you, you can graduate to writing 2 resolutions. You'll get someone with about 6-7 resolutions, but at the end of the day, by when they get into the month of March, month of April, they forgot what they were doing in 2023. They go back to 2022. And sorry to say, it might sound harsh, but I know there are people in 2023, calendar-wise. But in terms of how they are doing things, in terms of how they are thinking, they are still back in 2021. Actually, some even are 2018, because they are still struggling with things they were doing in 2018. And that's why I always tell people, when you have a strong brand, it actually, it psychs you. It tells you, it tells you, this is not who we are. This is not who you are, Sam. You need to wake up and get to the next level. So when you have those tools, they will always challenge you to grow. That's why you find organization, they will always, every time they have a meeting, they want to ask, are we working towards our vision? It's the same thing when you have a personal vision. You'll always ask yourself, am I amounting my energy and my commitment to something that is going to reduce my journey towards my vision? So that is number 3, which is very important when you talk about personal brand. So you need to have a vision, you need to have a mission, and you must be unique, and you must be passionate about it. When I talk about vision and mission in organization, I say that is what makes the organization becomes unique. It's the same thing that makes human beings unique. When you open your mouth, people want to listen to you, because even that opportunity given to talk to people, it's connecting you to another level. It must be a door opening. I've find people getting opportunity, but they have squandered those opportunity because they didn't package themselves. They never branded themselves to a place whereby that people will, they will want much of themselves, or rather they want much of them. So That becomes stage number 3. Stage number 4, which now becomes, that's where we always say that the rubber meets the road. And stage number 4, it's where now you put your brand into practical environment, where now you can be able to test out yourself. And that's a place now, where do you need to adjust your brand. Now this person you have talked about having a vision, having a mission, then you hit the road and you find, where do I need to adjust, where do I need to see I'm accommodating people. Because said and done, I have find people having good principles, good standard, but at the end of the day we need to know, how do we maintain our standard even as we mingle with other people, even as we interact with other people probably who are lower in our standard, lower in our principle. We come to their level and not losing who we are. I find a lot of people, when they mix with people, they lose who they are. They become like them. But when even you go down there to people, it doesn't mean that you should lose your principle. It doesn't mean you should lose your values. It doesn't mean you should lose your your standard. Even as you go where people are, your brand should help you to understand, how will I still maintain myself so that you don't lose yourself, so that you don't lose your identity, so that you don't lose who you are because probably the different environment. So this brand will always become impactful and powerful and result oriented when you have tested it, when now you have gotten to a place whereby that I've pushed myself to growth, I pushed myself to doing business, and you start now testing, does my brand, who I am, affecting my business positively? Does my who I am affect my leadership to a positive angle? Does who I am affect me in desiring to understand people better, understand myself better? Then the moment now you get to stage where I've called it the practical bit of your personal brand, that's when you expose your brand into real life. And this is where now majority of people they're like, they start giving testimony. Unajua mimi kitambo nilikuwa hivi, unajua kitambo nilikuwa nafanya, but saizi maisha ilinikalia. Is because they had the ideal and the real. So at when you talk about stage 4, about building a personal brand, your brand must be tested. Your brand must face challenges. Your brand must find opposition. There are people who will tell you it's just for a moment. You're going to, you're going to be like us. That place when you hear a lot of challenges, a lot of discouraging message, a place where you feel like, I think by there I need to adjust to be like them. Yeah, if as we adjust to go where they are, you're not adjusting your identity. You are still, it's like a lion, whether you put it in 1,000 sheep, it will remain to be a lion. Because it knows its value, it knows its principle. A lion will always eat meat, regardless of the season, whether it's dry season, whether it is, there is drought, whether there is no rain for 10 years, a lion will never eat grass. Because that's a lion. That's a whole thing. So that's a whole unique thing about the lion. That is its brand. It eats meat. And that is not pride. That is knowing that I'm a lion. I don't eat grass. That's who I am. That's a whole thing. The moment we'll have, and I think I have authored in my book, The Lion's Mentality, when we'll have that mentality in us whereby that we know I don't compromise my values, my principles, my standard, not because of situation, not because of the circumstances, I will hold on. I can protect, because it has taken energy, it has taken power to build who you are to where you are today. You cannot let what you have taken years to build to be broken, or rather to be shaken because of a situation of a day or a month. The place when you are in touch with yourself, even when your brand is tested, when your brand faces opposition, you'll be able to stand and know there is a stamina within me. There is something I can do with me to protect what I'm carrying. Are we together? Okay. Thank you. Let me see. Hey, Pastor Nicholas Mwathi, thank you so much for coming. God bless you. Mercy Wamboi, thank you for coming in. God bless you. Yes, I can see we are doing well. This is amazing. Keep sharing. as even as we progress with this show. It's amazing to see your comments and what you're saying. Let's keep getting your comments. You can highlight to us what we or what you're getting. So I was talking about the practical place of your brand. Your brand will always be tested. That's when you put your brand out there, you'll get a lot of competition, you'll get a lot of discouraging message. But hold on, I've said we need to have what we call the lion's mentality and the lion spirit. That in our minds, we should not have a vocabulary called substitutes. We don't know how to substitute our brand. Our brand must remain as a brand, and that has to remain so. That's very powerful for us to be able to make sure that what we have built up along the way, we can be able to protect it we can be able to protect it. You cannot develop a vision, you cannot develop a mission, then because of lack of food for 2 days, you forsake whatever you are looking forward to. Lack of a job in a year should not detract you from getting to a place of where you wanted to go. If you say, this is where I want to go, this is the kind of life I want to build, then even when season comes, we need to get the lesson in season, then we need to adjust. I have always said this, most of the time when we go to stage for the practical place of our brand, experiencing our brand and facing our brand, then we need to, one, re-strategize. And we have always said this, we can always change the strategy, but never run from our mission. Anytime we are at that particular moment, we'll have different strategy for different environment, but the mission and the vision should always remain constant. That is very important. I find a lot of people having different, you cannot even categorize them where they are. You don't have a true taste of who they are because they keep changing. It's like you'll find people defined by money. So when they don't have money, it's a different person. You find people defined by work. So when they don't have money, it becomes a different thing. I was sharing with someone this weekend, I was asking this. If today, everything that you have, probably it's a family, it's peeled off. Probably it's job, it's peeled off. Probably it's money, it's peeled off. What is that thing that it will remain? That thing, then that's what we are calling tonight is a personal brand. If you are to take away your family, if you are to take away your job, if you take away your car, if you are to take away, will you still stand? What is that thing that will stand? If you are to take away your ministry, if you are to take away your name, if you take away your position, if you are to take everything that is outside, what is going to remain? Then that is what we are calling tonight as a brand. And I've said, for us to remain with that, even at hard moments, we need to strategize, or what we call re-strategizing, reconstructing ourselves, replanning ourselves. We need to rethink again, rebirth new ideas at that stage so that we can, still protect who we are. When challenges come, we need to understand. If I was saving at 600 and there is a new a new environment has come, like we experienced today, you're like, now what I'll be doing, I'm not going to run away from my strategy. What I'll do, if I was saving 600 per month, I'll make sure at least I'm saving 20 shillings. What you are doing, the 20 shillings is not about the amount, it's about maintaining the culture, it's about maintaining a behavior. So when we talk about restructuring, is making sure, yes, I know I had this space, but what I'll not do, I'll not sit down. I better crawl. But at the end of the day, I'm moving towards the direction. As they say, that direction is more important than speed. Most of the time, I always say this. Also, speed is very important, but you can keep readjusting your speed. That's when you are driving, there is a place where you can do 120. There is a place where even if you want to drive 120, the road cannot allow you, meandering a lot of corners. So the much you can do is more probably 20 or 30. It doesn't mean, that's what I always say, when the environment is good, capitalize on it. Make sure you get the best out of it. When you're driving and you want to cover time, you make sure when the road is good, when you can see ahead very well, you can do even 120 kilometers so that you're going to cover where you cannot see, where you need to do about 20 or 30 kilometers per hour. So if you keep saying that I'll do 20 kilometers per hour, even when the road is favorable for you, I'm telling you, tell me against you. And do you know what? Time is a factor in building a brand. I know next month you're going to talk about stages of life, and you'll be shocked. There are things you miss doing them between 20 and 30. You try fix them at 20 to 30 to 40. You'll find time is not on your side. When you miss to do some things at 40, at 50, my friend, you are running for it at 50, 60. That is the time you're grandpa. Things are so hard and you're like, how do I go about? So we're going to look at it and you realize that a brand must be against time. If there is one thing that I want to tell you you'll never gain, it is time. If today is gone, is gone. In your process of building yourself, if you don't consider time, I'm telling you, you're not building yourself. If you have a vision and you're not time conscious, I'm telling you, you're not going to fulfill a vision, because a vision is measured against time. So when we talk about readjusting, when we talk about replanning, always know when you had planned yourself probably to save 20 shillings, then in the same environment something happened and you have gotten something. Make sure you're able to recover what you didn't you didn't save, or probably if there is there is something that you're supposed to do and you have an opportunity to do it, you do it with fast, so that at the end of the day you are able to save save on time. So that's very important, because I find a lot of people, when their brand is tested, when they find opposition, they're not able to rethink, what am I supposed to do in this scenario? What am I supposed to repackage myself here? Well, how am I going to stand, after this season? How am I going to make sure that after this season that everybody is complaining about the economy, about harsh, financial situation that we're going through? After this, what happened? And I find a lot of people, most of the time, they have gone through a certain scenario in their life, or they have gone through a certain situation in their life. Even when that situation it's over, it is over physically, but mentally you still find those people, they're still going through the same scenario. Because every time you go through a scenario, you should always protect your mind. Don't think as the situation, think as where you go. Because I have said this time and again that any situation that you go through is temporary, but any decision that you make out of that, it's going to have a permanent, impact in your life. So don't make permanent decision out of temporary, situations. Always be considerate. Always see what you can do, so that at the end of the day, you make sure that your brand is practical, it is real, it is effective, it is efficient to you, it's making you better, it doesn't add you stress, it doesn't get to a place where you are working yourself out. Because I find people who are so hard on themselves. I've said that I want to do masters by this time. If probably you can't, what I readjust time, see that yes, I'll still get this goal, but I have adjusted time, so at the end of the day I'm able to do other things without a lot of stress. Because why should you do a master's degree with a lot of stress? By the time you're getting it, you have ulcers, then you're now taking other medication. It doesn't help you. So you need to be real with yourself. At the end of the day, we always say this: we don't have a substitute of yourself. You're the only and the best person who can live your life. So you have to live it like it is yours. And by the way, not like it is yours alone. And there is no substitute about you. So we need you. So as much as you're packaging yourself, as much as you want the spirit of excellence, understand along the way, it's not a straight line in life. There is ups and downs. But every time you get a bump, slow down, ask yourself, what next? Then we go to stage 5, which is also very important. Now, the place of the same brand. You have find people saying rebranding. Now, when we talk about rebranding, in other words, the thing, we are changing. And I want to say this: in life, one of a constant thing, it's about change. I can tell you, change will be there. What we don't know, it is when. Change will always be there. You need to learn how to change your mind. How to change if this is not working. I find people dying in one area and they're like, I don't know what else I can do. Who told you? There's something else you can do. I find people pushing people to one line. Who said? By the way, let me tell you, life has 365 angle. That means you have 365 opportunities. Or rather 360, not 365. 360 angle, what we call 360 angle. It means you have 360 opportunities. Keep changing your mind, my friend. You cannot die at angle 27. This is what I know as it was beginning, so it's now, and so shall be. My friend, there is angle 28, angle 29. If your brand, there is a place of rebranding. You have found a house being repainted. It was black. You're coming, it is red. My friend, learn to repaint yourself. Don't sit down and look down upon yourself and say, there is nothing else I can do. I've hit, bottom down. No. You need to understand, how do you repick yourself? You are 30, you cannot afford to give up. You cannot be able to say that I'm done with my life at 30, at 40. You need to understand the stage 5, rebranding yourself, repackaging yourself, taking the same thing and working about it. If you're in Nairobi and Nairobi is not working for you, go to Kinangop and try to see whether the cold environment, there is something you can invent about it. Probably you might go to Kinangop from town and you'll find you're able to start a shop of selling, jumpers and the rest. There is always, I've always told people, if A is not working, go for B. If B is not working, go up to 26. There are 26 alphabets. So go to M. Probably your place is M of manufacturing and you are here. So you need to see yourself and have that adaptability spirit of changing. Be flexible. Don't be so rigid. Don't be so rigid that me, I can't do this. If you want to have a strong brand is not permanent. Yes, it is consistent, it's persistent, but at a certain given time, you need to make sure you readjust yourself, you rebrand yourself, even to the same place. It's the same thing as a leader. When you talk about branding as a leader, you cannot do the same way, the same thing, the same year. The first year you did the same thing, no new idea second year. By the time you're hitting the third year, people get used to you. There'll be a lot of monotonous. And at the end of the day, what happened? From reality bring content. What happened is that you'll find you get used to these people. There's nothing new there's nothing exciting about your life. So you need to rebrand yourself. If you're in Nakuru and things are not working for you, songa hapo mbele, go to Rongai. If Rongai is not favorable for you, go to Eldoret. There is no one you're not, permanent in one place. And if you can shift in an environment, if you can shift from physical, then it means you can shift in mind. Why people are not able to shift is because they have limited their mind to where they are. And they think that is the only business they can do. My friend, this life, you need to learn to rebrand yourself. If whatever didn't work for you from Jan to June, please change. If you want to make an impact this year, then you need to change. And that's why I said you need to do a SWOT analysis, because SWOT analysis will always help you to evaluate yourself and be genuine yourself. You cannot hold on to one job and it is not paying, it is draining you, emotionally, psychologically, even physical, and you're still holding on there. Nothing else I can do. I've said there are 360 angles. Please don't die. If you have tried and you're at 340, no, you still have an opportunity of another 20 opportunities in life. And that's the whole thing. Let's have an open-ended mind. Let's have an attitude where that will know this is our life. This is the place where we approach from majority of people have always been approaching life from an half empty. But we need to start seeing half full. That I'm ready to build my life. I'm ready to pay the cost. Even if it will cost me to move from one place to another, you will. If it will cost you to adjust from maybe paying a rent of 20,000 to a 10,000, you need to. You need to. Because, there is so much that is in us that we need to unlock. There is so much gifting that lies within us that we need to unlock. But we can only do that when we accept. When it can't work, we can change. Don't die holding one thing. I'm telling you, the moment you release it, you create a vacuum, you create an opportunity, one, for you to think something new, for you to receive something new. When I hold this cup, if someone was to give me another cup, I can't. I can only hold this cup another cup when I release this. If someone was to give me this phone and I'm holding this cup, this phone is more expensive, is more precious. If I was to hold it, then that means I have to let this cup go so that I can hold on the phone. It's the same thing with your life. Probably what you're holding on, something better is ahead of you, but you're feeling you can't let it go. In when we talk about personal brand, we must get the place of rebranding, the place of changing. Let the black paint go and paint it red, purple, gold. There must be newness in you. Let me see what you're sharing as even as we come to the end of our show this evening. Thank you, Reverend Maureen. Finally, you're here, present and learning. God bless you. Practical testing stages, well noted. Thank you. Reverend Jen, thank you for coming in. God bless you. I'm in loud and clear. Caro, I'm in. Masiwamboi, great conversation there. Yes, we need to have this conversation. We need to repackage even our society, repackage our family, repackage our business, repackage our ministry, so that at the end of the day, there is that newness in us. Even as we come to the end of our show, I want to challenge you, sit down and see how worth is your brand. How worth is your brand? How much can your brand, attract? If it was to give a monetary value, how much do you think you are worth in terms of brand? You find people talking about Nike brands. Do you know all those kind of brand? Which brand do you have? What are you going to be remembered for? And that is my parting shot tonight. And I hope you're going to take opportunity also to share this link to your pages, to other people. Let people hear this wisdom. Let's grow together. Let's impact one another. And I know, as we always call ourselves the Well Show, there must be wellness in us. So I want to say thank you so much for taking your time to listen to us and to watch to us. Also taking your time to share, take your time to give us a feedback. We don't take it for granted, but we always appreciate you. We know there's so many things that you have sacrificed to give us that audience. We'll never take it for granted. From the Well Show, we are always proud of you. We are always praying for you. And I know that one day we'll sit down and say that this is the doing of the Lord. So we want to wish you the best, even as we come to the end of the month of July from the Well Show. As even we get to the month of August, we know that God is always going to fill our cup to be able to share more. So keep watching. If you have not subscribed in our YouTube channel, run to our YouTube channel, Summer in SM TV. Like, subscribe, share, so that every time you're able to upload a new video, you'll be the first one to know. So we love you. We appreciate you. Shalom, shalom. Until next week, may God bless you.